You gonna do a video with me? Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another video. I am Shauna Kay. I talk about all things pretty raw, natural, honest about life, and I relate to so many of you. I'm a mother, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a business owner. I have a W-9 job, which is pretty much a job I keep for retirement because I work for the state, so I would get double their retirement, so it would behoove me to stay in. Even though I don't have to, I love bringing in extra income. I also juggle a family of three kids, a retired husband who doesn't have to work a day in his life, so he has agreed to be the stay-at-home. So there's, of course, dynamics that are often relatable to so many of you, and I love to share just truth. I'm also a Christian astrologer or alchemist. Depends on my mood, on which one I'll say that I am. I was brought up in a very strict religious church environment, and I'm actually in the middle of writing a book that is intended and anticipated to be a pretty big thing because I'm bringing to light astrology and how God actually intended for it to be used. And just like human nature, people go down these rabbit holes and twist things that were never meant to be twisted. But that's just who we are. That's why we have several denominations in the church. You know, the Catholic Church was corrupt in so many ways. There's history everywhere. But astrology has been demonized by Christians. So is everything else. Church is by no means in a position to tell people what is wrong or right. And unfortunately, it's gotten out of hand. So, yeah, that's just a tangent. But I've learned to nurture that side. So I did a lot of spiritual healing after the death of my mother. I was very depressed and confused and angry. And after she died, which was pretty traumatic because we were very close, and the way we parted was pretty harsh. So I went on a spiritual journey, and a lot of it was self-care, spiritual discovery, trying to just figure out what was right, what was wrong, how I could not make the same mistakes with my children, how I could just make it better. Because just like I tell my kids, all I want is for you to be better than me. And then I would feel like I successfully did my job as a mother. You want your children to take the baton and go further than what you were able to do. That should be the goal of every parent, not like do as I say, not as I do type parenting. I'm all about being humble, exposing my sins to my children, and showing them that this is raw, honest truth, and that you, no matter what hurdles you hit along the way, you're a beautiful human being and then created in the image of God, full of power. And there's so much out there, so many mysteries, and I'm just here to help uncover them with you. I also utilize alternative medicine. So I'm a huge supporter for marijuana, kratom, these natural things, kava, ashwagandha, teas. So it doesn't just, end with what you would call hallucination drugs or, whatever people want to call it, the devil's lettuce. I swear there's just a generation that needs to die off, that mentality, because it's outdated and it's not good for the society. They're incapable of growing. They need to just move on so the world can keep evolving instead of living in the past. Though that might sound harsh, that's my middle name on occasion. So all that to say, romanticizing life, especially on YouTube, has been a very exaggerated ordeal. When I started my YouTube channel a decade ago almost, it was completely wiped clean. I was up to 20K subscribers or more. But YouTube didn't like what I was saying, and there's this huge detox of the company, and they were wiping out accounts that were not going along with what the FDA, Big Pharma, the government, all these things that they needed to keep under control for these large entities that pretty much give them their paycheck. So I was one of the victims that was wiped clean, regardless of having a backup. the subscribers aren't going to just immediately be back there. So I had to refine my audience. So here I am again, rebuilding. So I would appreciate a subscribe, hit the subscribe button, like, share, and listen all the way to the end, because I love to throw in some goodies at the end here randomly. Words of wisdom, ways to view things that you probably have never thought of. And of course, I like to give shortcut chapters so you can click on something that you really want to listen. Down in the descriptions, I will provide that for you as well, because I'm nice and I know your time is valuable. So again, YouTube specifically, and just this aesthetic theme that go on, and it just comes out of the woodworks in fall. That's why I want to do a video on it now, because everywhere you look, there's just people playing the scene of perfection, you know, cozy sweaters, black yoga pants, or, you know, leggings, Ugg boots, you know, peppermint pumpkin mochas. It's just, everything is aesthetically perfect. And a lot of people get depressed when they see that, because in reality, our lives don't really look that perfect. And so people tend to romanticize their lives on social media, and that can lead to a lot of depression in the audience. Now, yeah, these people will say, well, that's not my fault. They are the owner of their emotions. It's not my fault if someone takes it the wrong way. I get it, but you have a responsibility as being in the spotlight, that your audience gives you their attention. You owe them some kind of raw truth. So if you don't get that in one of the channels you follow, I would question if you should continue to waste your time. Life is too short. And unless you're getting something out of it, like it's a doctor, I love the intelligent, you know, educational medical channels. Unless it's like that, if they're not being raw and honest at some point in their lives during their channel, I would question it if it's really, I would see if it's affecting you. And you might be surprised, because honestly, I get a lot of that, especially the energies. I'm an empath, a very intense empath, and I can feel these kind of emotions. And it's really strong during this year. And it took me a while to really catch on as to why. And then it dawned on me, you know, these people romanticize their life, and it's really not reality. But yet I look at my life and I share so much, and I get a lot of feedback like, wow, that's so beautiful. You know, I feel like I'm guilty of that too. But then at the same time, I like to show the rawness and kind of balance that out, which is what a lot of my subscribers appreciate. And they've mentioned that as well, which that's what dawned on me, of romanticizing life and the truth. But at the same time, we are fully capable of romanticizing our lives, but yet still being honest. So let's say I lived in a rundown apartment as a single mom. I'm actually going to give you a story. I was there. I was a homeless single mom, going home to home, anyone that would take my daughter and I in, while I rebuilt my life after escaping a really toxic marriage. The whole time being harassed and pursued and going to court dates, going to trial, all to protect me and my daughter. It was a very dark time in my life, and none of these pretty aesthetics was even possible. So what this video is intended to do is show you how you can romanticize the realities of your life. Because we can. I was able to do that. And a lot of people will ask me how, because it's really hard to resist allowing yourself to be affected and bashed down and just want to cuddle up in a fetal position and lay down and not wake up. That is a huge thing that we go through when we're down and out. It really is hard to get back up and keep pushing forward when everything is against you. So, but there is a way to do it. I did it, and I know you can do it too. So that's why I want to focus on this, because not always is life this perfect. My life was horrible in many various seasons, but yet I still managed to enjoy the mundane parts of my life and find excitement in these little things and create rituals and create those romanticizing, beautiful, picturesque moments. But it took some things that I really had to focus on and put into place. in order to do that. A lot of people do not like to just accept the fact that they're not perfect. We're human, we have full of flaws. Because the second thing really can go with both. But the acceptance before you move on is the key here. And it's pretty much accepting the fact that life's not perfect. And it's never going to be. And you're never going to have it all. You're never going to have everything be flawless. And that constant chase of getting there is going to drain you. And then that's just going to become an obsession, which we see everywhere. You've got to accept that that's not reality. Because once you do accept that, then step 2 is a lot more simple. And you're able to handle it better. And that is organizing your life. Sit down and organize a schedule of all your mundane tasks. Label it out on a sheet. So my morning routine. Write down the morning routines. My late morning routine. Every section of your life that's typical, routine, write it down and section it out. Once you've done all that, go back to each one and add one thing that you think it would be nice or fun or cute to add to. So for example, I think my morning routine could really use a meditation session. So I want to sit down and I want to do this fun meditation that I've seen in this app. Chani is one of my favorites. And I'm going to do that. And it's just going to put me in the mood and it's going to be beautiful. And then it's going to be something I look forward to. So that's your little thing of an aestheticness that's just cute and quaint that you can add to it. And do that to each other thing that you go down your list. Lunch. Oh, lunch, I'm going to start taking a walk. And it's pretty much, if you can't think of anything, think of something that you see other people do. That you're like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I could do that. Odds are you can. You just have to push yourself. Or you see something that, man, that would be very relaxing to try, but I just don't have time for that. Make time for that. If you enjoy watching someone else do something, how about you sprinkle a little bit of that into your schedule? Like my nighttime routine. I love candles. I hate having to deal with the smell of when I blow them out. So how about you buy little fake candles that are realistic looking and light them throughout your house. And I started doing that routinely to add to my nightly routine as the sun goes down. And then I would just sit down and survey, and it just felt so quaint. That simple little addition to my schedule made my mindset and outlook feel so dainty and just aesthetically pleasing to look. That's what I mean by adding stuff to your mundane schedule. Eventually those little additions will start to be something that you look forward to, something that's enjoyable to look. And then you'll want to take a picture, you'll want to put it on your Facebook, you'll want to put it on Instagram, and you'll feel good because that's something that's real that you did. But it's actually something that people would find aesthetically pleasing to look at. And you are therefore romanticizing your simple life of reality, and you actually find enjoyment in that. The third thing, music is a powerful thing. I love dark academia, that aesthetic of dark academia, like the Gilmore Girls private school that she went to, the kind of Jane Eyre type thing, even the kind of classical music that's kind of dark and moody. I love that. And so I'll literally, while I have to do a task throughout my life that's not always perfect and wonderful and smelling like roses, I'll put on some music that reminds me of one of my favorite type of aesthetics, and that being dark academia. And it's actually a very popular thing, so if you search it, you can get so many ideas on what you can incorporate in your life. So just give that a search and then start adapting some of those things to your day-to-day life. And you will romanticize your life just by that one alone. Which brings me to the fourth thing. Now, not everything that we do in our life is fun and wonderful. That's why it's hard to always realistically have an amazing, perfect life, because we sometimes have to do shitty jobs. Sometimes we get diarrhea or start vomiting. Sometimes our kid wets the bed or shits in the bed, and or vomits in the bed. It's not always wonderful. Those are the moments I wish I had on camera to share with you, because I think it would be so reassuring that we all suffer together. But when it comes to things like, oh, I have an assignment I have to do for my boss and it's not fun, I'm not motivated, what you can start doing for these kind of tasks that you have to do on your day-to-day basis, start challenging yourself. Set a goal or set a reward. If you get it done at this amount of time, you can buy that thing that you just avoided buying because it's not something you need, but because you're able to do it on time, you'll reward yourself with that. I do that a lot, and I buy myself a lot of stuff that I otherwise wouldn't. But I'm rewarding myself, so technically it's a good thing to do, and it helps motivate you and push you through it while you're listening to amazing classical dark academia music in the background. The next thing is start a hobby. Now, sometimes our lives are just so boring. You're like, Shauna, romanticize what? I have such a boring life. Not if you start to do these things. Plus, this thing, start a new hobby. Do something that you otherwise would never waste your time doing. But on top of that, promise someone something like knitting. If you've always wanted to knit, go tell someone that, hey, I'm going to knit you a scarf. Okay, so once I'm done, I will give it to you. That way it kind of keeps you accountable and you stay motivated to do it. Oh, I have to knit even though I don't want to force myself to and I don't feel like it. I promised so and so, so I have to do it. It pushes you to get in the mood of these hobbies that you otherwise wouldn't choose to do. Not that you don't want to do it, you just don't feel like it. And you'd be surprised how often that's always the culprit. We don't feel like taking a bath, but we would love to take a bath. We just don't feel like it because it takes work to clean the bath, to fill the bath, to dry off, to do this. It's the feeling that we are often guilty of, which is like mental laziness. But if you promise something, you keep yourself accountable and you would most likely go and push yourself to do it in that kind of situation. The next thing is lists. I'm a big fan of lists. I have rituals of lists. That's a hard word. So before you go to bed, you're going to make 3 lists. First one is a list of worries, things you just need to get off your mind and worry about it in the morning. So I'm going to put this down in my mind, out of my mind. I'm going to write it on this list and I'll worry about it tomorrow. And on top of that, you should dedicate a worry session. So write down the things that you're worrying about. The second list, write down 3 amazing things about yourself, positive things about yourself. I'm resilient. I'm a hard worker. I'm really good at this. I have an amazing ass. Just 3 awesome things about yourself. And then the last list, write down blessings. Write down things in your life that are actually a blessing compared to other countries and other places and other people that might not be in your situation. Write down what you are thankful for, that you otherwise, if you didn't have it, it would be a big deal to you. Write those down, do those lists. It really, really helps. And the next thing is you got to stay hydrated. Our bodies are over 70% full of water. That's why I study the moon cycles, because the moon highly affects us, bodies of water. And that's a lot. That's the majority of our body is fluid. We need to be hydrated. And you'd be surprised how our mind can keep us negative. Our mind could be that negative side that's like critiquing us, especially if we're not hydrated. Hydration does so many things. I could do a whole video on hydration, but there's already amazing YouTubers who have already done that. So just Google the benefits of hydration and realize that it's true, and I'm not just BSing you, and start keeping yourself hydrated, because that will help get you motivated to do these things, because sometimes our minds are our biggest. Well, I hope these things, if you choose to incorporate them, will change your life for the better. Seriously, the candles and the music alone do wonders for your day-to-day routine. It took me a long time to start romanticizing my life, aka spoiling myself, creating a beautiful environment around me. And it does wonders. Once you start to beautify your surroundings, it will start to beautify you. It's contagious. When people come to my home, they immediately feel a difference. Like, I've had people tell me so many times, random people, wow, I feel so calm and relaxed. Your home has this energy about it, especially if they go in my sunroom. It is something that's contagious. When you put your heart and soul into something and you start creating something that you find love and enjoyment in, it will affect you in a positive way, including your visitors. It's very important to do this in your life. And it's very important to realize that life's not perfect. Neither are those stupid videos that are just showing nothing but perfection. And they know it to be true. They know that they don't have a perfect life. But let's admit it, we love watching those videos and we want them to keep doing it because it gives us ideas. It gives us things to do, some things that we just enjoy watching because it's like peaceful. But it's true that we can romanticize the realities and the mundane aspect of our lives. And it doesn't. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.